Kakabuk sayar banthia ki archaka ki jong pimenta ka kinti wan chaka frang Yamaha but yoru ki cashback hado saujar tingka baga jinga eru ki helmet habat thia ki Yamaha scooter pin yoru ka discount ka bahadu nyaw jar tingka habat thia ki bag FC but FZS but ru ka down payment ka bakhala jar tingka phone ki number harum
Ka Meghalaya together ka seng ka badon chisnem bat ka bakentup ya baro ki jait penrio hanong ba Shillong ha ka arpui trik urisau arhaja arpusau kala pelong ya Jingiakren markmat padu ba N.Syiem ubadi president badem jong ka seng ki samla puli ka jylla ka Khasi Students Union house nem chejar khandai spa nyup khandai.
These who don't have daughters, who have only sons, will also be covered. Once the parents have willed the property, no clan, no dustur, no tradition can come and take it away from them.
I think I remember when Ahmed was talking about all this issue, he had also written a play, staged a play, in Khasi it is called Buromio Bayam, which means that literally means that we respect only when the person died. So can talk about, many, I think some of you might have, watched that play. It's also available in YouTube now, but it was long time ago.
Yeah, it's very sad, but I write plays when I'm inspired by certain things, that happen. And this Burome Bayab, especially when the guys die, men die, boys die. Then everybody would shower all the praise and everything. But when we were alive, we asked for some property to get a bank loan, to give us collateral, asked for some money to start business. There's no money for us guys. But when we're dead, they'll take a loan, to celebrate our death. So this play is also a musical play. And we said that respect when he is alive. Then you do whatever you want after he's dead. So that's why we have this play.
What intrigues me about you also, which I also want you to share, I want to ask you about your 2 sixes. The 1 6 is about your book, The Sixth Possibility. Bamait had written a book on the Kishka bombing in 1985, and the title of the book is The Sixth Possibility, because there are 5 theories about the Kishka Air India Boeing, which was bombed in 1985, if I'm not mistaken, Bamait. But Bamait wrote about the 6th theory, and also the next 6 that I want you to talk about, because this also is important, because like Shillong, many times we talk about the multiple power centers, and that is the 6th schedule and the grassroots governance. So Bamait, your thought about it.
Well, regarding the 6th possibility, I think you all know about when Air India Kishka crashed off the Irish coast in the Atlantic Ocean. I think till now it has not been solved, the mystery has not been solved. Then there were 5 theories why the Kishka crashed. There's an insurance fraud. It could have crashed head-on with a satellite, pieces of debris satellites falling headlong from the sky. And then there are 5 theories. Then the bomb explosion, then mechanical failure. Then I give my 6th theory. I said that it was because of the US experimenting on the Star Wars experiment. According to the dates, the Star Wars experiment was, to explode a missile on mid-air by using laser technology. So the timings of the test of the Star Wars technology during the time President Ronald Reagan. The timings of the tests have, on the same dates as the Kishka explosion. The first test failed. The second test, it was a success, and they asked for the third test. And on the third test, Kishka exploded. This writing of mine, it was, published in a US website, an NRI website, Parvasi Today, quite a few websites, and even Pakistan Defense website also was used as an anti-US propaganda. Anyway, that is about so till now, the real cause about the Kishka explosion, they blame the Khalistan Sikhs, but then all of them have been acquitted, and the last one was acquitted because of perjury, not because of the bomb explosion. So, and most of these were based on newspaper clippings, and I gave why US is capable of doing it. Well, India then was just a third world country, overpopulated third world country. So what about 365 Indians can blow them off the sky, And then traveling from Canada. Yeah. And I explained that Tuskegee syphilis experiment, which the Americans tested how syphilis kills on their own African Americans. Hundreds of them were tested by the US government, how syphilis kills, without telling these people that they were guinea pigs of this experiment. And Bill Clinton ultimately had to apologize, and millions of dollars had to be paid to the relatives. So America is capable of doing it. So there are many other instances, So this is one particular experiment which I brought out, but is the US government capable of, using the Kishka Air India as a target for the Star Wars technology. Now regarding the sixth schedule, I think Pastor will remember that, you were the moderator then.
Yeah, I was the moderator.
Regarding the relevance of the district councils in Meghalaya, there were 4, and I was the lone one against. I said that the district councils have outlived their time. And I filed a PIL, but then the High Court said that you have to take it up with the Supreme Court, but I lack the finance, to go right up to the Supreme Court. Because there are so many issues, why the sixth schedule was relevant when we were under Assam then. Then when we got our own state, it became a state government within a government. And with the introduction of Para 12A in the sixth schedule, which says that no law passed by the district council, on the same subject which the state government passes a law, the state government's law will overrule the district council. This provision by itself made the district councils redundant today. So this is just one example why I felt that the district councils today are redundant, and we are using hundreds of crores just to spend on their establishment costs, and they're giving us nothing in return. So Yeah.
But
that's
there's
something.
also the other side of you. I mean, the lighter side or the cultural part of, the forever young club, your midnight swim, or rather your midnight dip, on the New Year's Eve, which I think last year it was the 20th edition, 28th edition, and then your wine festival, which in 2020 the state government legalized it, the winemaking industry, which is doing very well. I mean, at present. So, I mean, how did you, come out with the idea, which you have already, put them on the ground?
Well, before, winemaking was mainly a hobby among few families in Shillong. But then, we saw the potential of winemaking, and at the same time helping the farmers with their fruits. Because, you see in Meghalaya we have fruits throughout the season, throughout the year. And it just fall on the ground and rot, people will give it to the cattle, So why not give value addition to the fruits? Then that's when we started organizing the Shillong Wine Festival. Then it was only in 2022 when the government, we had been campaigning with the government to legalize winemaking. If they could allow, beer production in Meghalaya, and Meghalaya being a wet state, then Mizoram being a dry state, Mizoram had already legalized wine. But later on, because of the church, they had to stop it.
But why only
But then-
wine, Mike? Why only wine? Why not Ri Khasi?
Even Ri Khasi also, because now Ri Khasi is illegal, so the government has no quality control, they're losing revenue. The only one who's making money are the cops, I think. I hope there are no cops here. Because it's illegal, but it's a cheap booze. So by the time it goes to the, reaches the market, it's been diluted and so many things, and people are dying right and left. It's become, So, adulterated, The huge strategies all over India, the same thing is happening here.
So the midnight dip, I think that's very interesting. We are closer to the...
Well, the midnight dip is, we wanted to welcome the new year from the very first second by taking a plunge in cold water as part of, to welcome the new year with a prayer to the Almighty, to give us the challenge, the strength to face the challenges of the year. So to add to the challenge, we've every year now added a ton of ice blocks. So this year we'll be having around 10 tons of ice blocks. So no one is allowed to have any kind of intoxicants while dipping in the water, because if you have any intoxicant, then it wouldn't be a challenge anymore. So all of you are invited to, if not swim, you can come have a dip.
But before I open the house to to have an interaction with you, one last thing. Because also now, for the past 1 year, the state and the society, they are debating on the reservation policy. And before I come to that, one thing which I like about you, which young people also should know, to disseminate your idea, you engage in pamphleteering. I mean, you distribute pamphlets. I have one which, when I was in college, something about, you wrote about how do we think. And you said, if we think that we are beaten, we are. So these kind of pamphlets, and there is another one which is undated. which I found in my file. This is about the employment policy in the state, which is very relevant. So I like the line which you had written. If we are to be protected, after being protected, when will we learn to stand on our own feet? And also you talk about that the 40% reservation job for the indigenous tribals of the state is another factor that has adversely affected our administration. So Bamai, this issue is burning now in the state. So, I mean, do you still stand by what you have written?
You see, when I send my kids to school, colleges, I didn't allow them to ask for scholarships. Because I felt that scholarship should be on merit based, not because I'm a scheduled rep. So, you know, I feel like my father that way, my father was, you know, in the British Army, he was in the Middle East, and after his retirement from work, he was in the district councils, Khasi Jaintia district council that time. After his retirement, he studied law and he practiced law. That's how determined he was. At that age, you know, when he had retired, most people would have, you know, eaten on their pensions. But he still did his 3-year course, and he was very encouraging. And I think, I was inspired by him. That as long as we keep protecting, we will never grow. We have to face the challenges in life. That applies to everyone, especially us, you know. We've been protected for too long. Okay, I agree that financial reservation for those who are financially weaker, yeah, they need reservation. But as a society, I think, you know, when the constitution was framed with the rest of the world on an equal footing. You know, when I travel outside, like I told you earlier, you know, I was invited to several universities, and people would say, you people, you don't pay income tax, job also reservation, we feel so down. But then we have the capacity, you know, to compete with the rest of the world on an equal footing and exceed, if not at times. I think it's about time. It's a sensitive issue. When you talk outside, I might get beaten up. But I know, black belt, taekwondo. Anyway, but it's a sensitive issue, but you have to be radical. You need radical thoughts. You can't just stay the same, wallow on the same self-pity. It's time you get up and see we'll compete. I think that is one of the main arguments.
Yeah, on that note, I open the mic to everyone in the house. If you would like to ask question or compliment or critique, you know, whatever the house is open for.
I just want to mention, there's one point regarding, you know, that the setup in our tradition. You know, when the mother dies, I think we are the only society in the world, I don't know, maybe, when the mother dies, the children become orphans, even the father is still there. Even if the father wants to take care of the children, the tradition will not allow him. Because they say that the children are not from your clan. So there are many guys now who take advantage of that. The moment my wife dies, we go and get another wife. So we have written a street play, Papa Shinokilan is a musical play, highlighting this. It's the only system, I think, where the moment the mother dies and when the children really need a father, the father runs away. Not because he wants, but the system won't allow him. And if the clan is poor, they'll end up in the orphanage. So this is another point I just like to break clear.
So the house is open.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mike. What a beautiful and important talk. I think really, it's all grown so much. So many things you answered in the talk already. My question is obviously pertaining to Khasi traditions, culture, and I know what you're talking about, and I see the important work you're doing, and I also analyze this a lot, and wanted to ask you, in Khasi society till now there's a confusion between clan identity and family identity. Just 100 years back the population was so small, so the clans were still small also, and they still lived, the Kni lived in the same area, and the Khasi way of life, the Kni is very important in the religious practices. So that is now, whether you still follow indigenous faith or you're Christian or Hindu or Muslim, it's no longer, when it comes to even the spiritual practices. Then there's the inheritance problem. This is true. Business became a new thing, and then suddenly the nephew or the youngest daughter's husband is meant to look after. It's not possible. So these things are changing, and I think we have to, you have to acknowledge it. I take the Tibla as spiritual, so I don't attach it to all this, but it's attached to it. My question is it possible to have family identity now emerge, but you don't break away from the kur, the khenkur, khenkha, because that has to remain who your mekha is, your tayyid, your parat, your parakhas, your parsa. This is the fabric of the relations within society. But maybe is it possible within this to have how other societies have? You have a family identity. So you don't take the name of the kur as, you bring out a new identity, which is a Khasi identity. Is it possible, or does it need complete transformation?
Well, in short, before those of Shillong, we all lived in villages. The whole clan would live in one village, and the uncle of the Kni can look after everybody. And the economy was mainly agricultural economy. We all lived off the field. And then when the British came, they set up Shillong. Many employment opportunities came up. People started moving out of the village, getting employment in different sectors. And what evolved was the family as a unit. One brother would stay in North-Mai, another brother would stay in Maulai. We all spread out. And the Kni, it became very difficult for him to look after everybody. And with time, the cost of living came so high. He can't even look after his own kids, let alone looking after all the clan, everyone. So from the clan evolved the family. Then, like I said, because the cost of living is so high, the Kni, will get in trouble with his wife if he starts looking after the nephews. You can't even provide for your own kids and you look after the clans. Not possible. Of course, unless he's a rich guy, high level. the rest of the people, it's the father and mother who looks after the kids, who will go and search for a loan in case they need a loan, repay the loan, and the knee has become just like a titular head, just like the monarchy in England, with no real powers. He's invited like for a marriage ceremony. He has no say in who the daughter chooses for her husband. He'll just come there and bless them, and that's all. But the real authority now is the father and mother. So, when you see in the electoral roll, there's a column, name of father. Very sad, yeah. Father unknown. So many cases. But you don't even have a maker. So when the father doesn't know the children don't know the father. And in our society, the maker is the most important. You can call maker only to the father's mother. You can call maker to any old elderly woman. But you can call maker only to. So whether you give your title to your wife or to your husband, the maker will always become maker. The car will always become car, and the kur will always become kur. So yeah, we need to talk about it. But these are changes which I'm sure we have the wisdom to adapt. And like my children, they give my title. But my mother is always Mekha. And my sisters will always be Kha. But then I'm still a Khasi, my kids are all Khasis. But then we have to evolve according to time without really disturbing the basic of the identity of the people. I hope I can.
I have many questions, but let me get to some pertinent ones. We always look back at 1979 as a very violent year. Looking back, what would you have done differently as a leader of the Khasi Students' Union then? That is point number one. And I think another very important question is related to what you said just now. What do you think of the Khasi lineage bill, the one that's pending? Because it exactly touches on what you said, that if I don't give my mother's clan, I will not be considered Khasi. And maybe the third one, why is it that we don't have a civil society in Meghalaya?
To answer your second question first. The father of the district council, Jingiakren Nicholas Roy, Joy James Nicholas Roy, he is said to be the father of the district council, and the district councils are supposed to look after the culture and tradition. He took his title from his father.
His wife?
No, from his father. Because Jingiakren Nicholas Roy's father is Gajendra Roy, before they spell R-O-I, Roy. And his mother is Tirot Singh's sister, who's Imle. So, Nichols is taken from his wife's title.
And his brother is R.R. Thomas.
R. Thomas. And his son is Stanley Nichols Roy. His grandson is David Nichols Roy, who's married to
Swear.
Minette Perrier. Yeah. And he's also given his title to his children.
But that's where I was talking. See, that is not the kur. He didn't take the kur. Although.
Then he should have.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Then,
these are things which were, there's a clarity should be there.
Yeah.
That was the title
then
that
he
is
should have
taken.
taken as JJM Nichols Imle.
No,
You
but
should
he-
have taken my word. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is
Okay.
what he took petrol in.
Then we had followed the Gandhian non-violent movement, Satyagraha, then hunger strikes. Then suddenly some incidents, violent incidents happened. It was a puja season. Then some Khasi boys were beaten up in Limekra, then in Umpling. Then, these small incidents add up, and there was a rumor going on that the water tank in Malki was poisoned by the Bengalis. No, I would. Yeah. So then it blew up. It became a mass movement, which we as a union also could not control anymore at that time. It just took a life of its own, and things happened. And luckily the administration then was tough, and everyone was in jail. And after, I think, 1 year, that was the first time when there was a curfew during Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's a situation which, then what happened was Manik Das was assassinated, the MLA from Garo Hills. He was assassinated in Boko. And I was the first one arrested at the time. Then, we had planned to boycott the MP elections. And to boycott the MP elections, we had a picketing on the government press. The old government press, if you remember, was behind the secretariat. So most of the students of the Khasi students were picketing the government press so that the government could not print the ballot papers. Then that time, the Bengalis of Shillong took a procession in protest against the murder of Manik Das. Who threw the first stone? We don't know. But our boys were picketing the government press, and the procession was going toward that the secretariat, in front of the secretariat, and in front of the additional secretariat. The boys were there, the people were taking out a procession in front of them. Then when we reached the site, it was a battlefield. That whole citizen library was a battlefield. So that's when the government really, took hard decisions, and when things went out of control. Of course, I'm not trying to justify, but I'm just trying to tell you the events as they unfolded. So when people, start talking about 79, I had written an article explaining all this. But I guess many people, I think, who read it, they fail to remember the events that took place.
No, but is there no need for closure on this? There are many people who feel that, we need closure so that we can move ahead.
Like what?
I don't know, like a national sorry day they have in Australia and all that. So whoever was wrong, we don't know. But if we can get together, apologize and move ahead, how would it be?
Well, let me tell you, one of my doctor, homeopathy doctor, is a Bengali from Laban. He's a family doctor of ours. So I used to talk with him, I think, about all this. But how to bring about that closure, it's something maybe, it's a point to think about it.
I think we have moved on, but you cannot deny the fact the scar is still there. I mean, 2024, if you look at the statistics of the Bengali population, it has gone down drastically. Only yesterday, I met a friend of mine who was senior to me, and he was sharing me with the story that his friend, who was a teacher in Laban Bengali Boys High School, who just left last few months to be with his children somewhere in Calcutta. So yes, we have moved on, but the scar is still there, which it still haunts for some people.
Not for
No,
some
but,
people, sorry. I need to say this.
Okay, I just like to.
It haunts a lot of people, and they still write about it. That
Yeah,
they are never made to feel at home, although they were born and brought up here.
Okay, I'd just like to mention that when we were arrested under the MPTO, but Martin Narayan also was arrested. H.S. Jylla was arrested. Dr. B.K. Roy, MLA from Torungkra, he was also arrested. Bhaskar Chaudhary, MLA from Laban, he was also arrested. So we were all, of course we were discussed when we were in jail. But everyone denied being the instigator.
Yeah,
But then why were they arrested also? So we don't know, who arrested, who was the instigator. Well, as a student leader, I was the main target. Because we took out a procession, we had these buns, had these, picketings and all. So, I don't know how Bob Martin was arrested, but he being an MLA, I think. But he was nowhere in the picture that time.
I think Martin was blamed, as per reports. He was blamed for instigating people in and around this area. I mean, that as per the newspaper reports. So what about the third question? About
Lineage, Khasi lineage.
Civil
society.
Huh?
Civil society. Oh, lineage.
Yeah,
and the
civil society, yes. We only have pressure groups. We don't have a civil society. This
Well, I'll tell you.
This is a civil society.
Yeah,
but whether
okay.
this civil society will take up issues,
Yeah, it's a
You see, many of us have turned into paper tigers. We've learned to criticize in the comfort of our homes. We learned to give press release and condemn or condolences only in the newspapers. But how many of us are willing to come out to the streets and talk, and demonstrate on the issues that we feel very close about? So like I talked earlier, regarding this marriage act, I told the women's group that it is a woman's problem, but they are still not willing to come out to the streets and talk about it. I think the population, civil society in Meghalaya, we are willing to, speak out only from the comfort of our homes, on seminars, on gatherings like this. But no one is willing to take the step. When we, campaigned for the RTI and took out a procession, there were only 7 of us. We were beaten up by the cops, landed up in jail again. Malu also was there.
Yeah.
So you have to take a stand, no? If you feel strongly about whatever, you have to take a stand and say, I'll do it. I stood alone in front of the Secretariat, demanding for the Marriage Act to be implemented. I think, we should take a stand, even if it's alone. Then only people will be inspired to come up and join you if they feel.
Rahul?
Yes. Hello again, sir. Firstly, thank you so much for your insights. I'm usually used to seeing Ba Michael swimming in the pool, but to get your insights on things that we normally just have a surface understanding of, because our popular culture is quite shallow at times. So for you to take us back to events and to the origins of ideas has been very interesting. And in relation to that, I wanted to ask, you had mentioned your father and how, when he came back from the war and how he might have inculcated a certain ethos in terms of merit and in terms of seeing the world and ideas. And a lot of these ideas that you were speaking about today, for instance, with the equitable distribution of ancestral property and things like that, were these ideas already in circulation when you were growing up? I'm asking because it would be nice to get some idea about your influences, people who you grew up. You mentioned Ba Hoppingstone. Were there others, people who were teachers and professors and the like? You spoke about your plays, which you wrote. Were there again people who you looked up to and who guided you at that time? That's my first question. And secondly, very quickly, you've also related to us very wonderfully how your own views have changed with time. And now that, how some of your ideas might seem radical to people at large, have you noticed what has been your experience of how people have received your ideas, and have people changed in terms of your engagement with them over time? Have you been able to bring them over to your side in your experience? Thank you.
Well, my father is been inspirations because he didn't talk much, but he guided me in many ways, even property-wise. I have 4 elder sisters, and I'm only the youngest son. But still, many of the landed property he gave to me. He knew my sisters quite far away. He didn't have the capacity to look after them.
Right.
So, how my views have changed is mainly through interaction with people from different backgrounds. So I think it's the main influence which brought in these ideas, because before the CPIML, I think you know them, they used to send me a lot of publications.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Because I had to burn them up. Otherwise the cops would label me a leftist. So their ideas also, and they use a lot of plays to propagate the ideas. Brother D'Souza is one. He used to make these plays, musical plays for St. Edmund's School. I used to stage plays, street plays before, but then the reach was very limited. Because street plays, only those people, then with cable TV coming out, then when I saw Brother D'Souza's plays, I decided to, introduce musical plays which will have more attraction to the people who will have. He compared also gave some comments on that. Khubor Kirai, the one we see in Reservation. And that time there were no quotas for seats for for portfolios. Everyone there was no opposition. Everyone wanted to be a minister. Then that song, Sunday Morning, was converted into Shuki, Shuki, Shuki Jonga. Everybody wanted a chair.
But you also staged a play on Ayodhya.
That, yeah, we staged a play on Ayodhya because even in our own state, when you go to the villages, you'll find a very big church and the people living in thatch houses, and every Sunday they'll give money. Poor people living in thatch house, and the lone concrete building is a church. We're having a lot of poverty, a lot of no education, and then we have this Ayodhya. This Ayodhya is just a symbol. There's a temple, a mosque, whatever. Karl Marx said, religion is the opium of the masses. Use religion, you'll win elections. So that's why this play after Ayodhya.
So, yes, sir, please. Yeah, then the next one.
Well, I could say my name is Katta. We had a house in Shillong a long time back. I studied here, then I left this place, and now I'm back again.
Many of the influx, why does migration take place? Economic issues, political persecution, religious persecution. But many of the influx happening here is an economic factor. Because there are economic opportunities, that's why people come here. Why are there economic opportunities? Because of our system. Our system allows economic empowerment only to Khado, not to the other children of our family. Now government jobs have reached a saturation point. Our only outlet is to go for economic activities. So unless we bring about these changes in our society and we go in for economic activity in a big way, then economic empowerment will be there. Why, US is so strong? Because of its economy is very strong. China, way back in 1950s, was just a developing economy, developed. But now it's challenging the US as a superpower because its economy is very strong. So eventually, basically, when you look into all that, is economic empowerment. So unless as a society also, we go in for this economic empowerment, starting right from the family, this insecurity will always be there. We feel that, our bread and butter is being taken away. And we'll have to blame somebody. We won't blame our system, but we'll blame the non-tribals, we'll blame everybody under the sun. So
I think your
we are hoping that this movement by the Manchprang to bring about these changes, compulsory registration marriage, where marriages will be where families will be strong and economic empowerment will be there right from the family. So we have the RCI, we can have a transparent government, responsible government, then we have the Lokayukta Act. With these three, systems in place, we hope, we sincerely hope, and we hope for the best, and we strive to bring about those changes.
Sir, I just wanted to ask one question, and it's personal.
I know it's a long shot. You won't be satisfied with my answer. You won't be satisfied, but it's a long shot for us. But we won't back down. And I'm sure with the support of a lot of people with good intentions.
That was coming together, coming to
Yeah, yeah,
the
that's
problem. We also want to help.
Yeah.
Like the drug problem is there in the city.
Okay.
So many problems.
Yeah, just another example, I have a Punjabi friend. He used to see us fighting for this compulsory registration of marriage, So he told me that among the Punjabis, we don't need this compulsory registration of marriage. Because the system in the Punjabi culture, makes every marriages, they must register the marriages. They don't need a law for that. Because their system, their culture, their tradition makes it compulsory that for every marriages. So these are inputs that we get, from this Punjabi friend of mine who's been staying in Shillong for a long time. So I was quite surprised. So we have the system which is very flawed. Like I told you, it's very easy for a man to walk out of a marriage. Because our system.
But that is not a non-tribal problem. Madam, please.
As you said just now, no, that many of the Khasi ladies, they don't want to marry a Khasi man, but they prefer to marry a non-tribal. Many of them have married a non-tribal from outside Meghalaya. But the children who get the property rights, they are called the Khasis. But the genuine non-tribal, like he said, this is the fourth generation, are the punching bags. We don't get a property. Like we have to go out from here after retirement. So I just want to know your view about we non-tribals, we stay here for fourth generation, but we are non-tribals. But a non-tribal father who's from outside, not from Meghalaya, but the children are Khasi. So I just want your view on that.
You see, when I was in the university, a lot of these girls, non-tribal girls, they said, when we get married, we have to leave Shillong. We don't want to leave Shillong, they told us. But we would like to marry a Khasi guy, so that we can stay in Shillong. But then you marry a Khasi guy, he'll come and stay in your house. He doesn't get property. Who wants to marry a guy like that? So it's humorous, but it's true.
Yeah. One.
Good afternoon, sir. I've got one question. As you have said, from 1979 it is influx movement you have started, and still today also it's going on. In other hand, you see the population of the non-tribal, you see from 20% when the statehood was there, now it's going to be 9%. If you take the census of 2011 is 11 something, now definitely it's come down because everyone is living, as Madam has said. Now my question now, again you are saying that here you have changed everything because you meet the other people, you have visited the university, you have changed your mind. Now, and I have seen when the case was established, they have established and used to go to the place to call with all the ex-KSU presidents. Now, what kind of advice the present KSU is taking from you? As you have said that your mind has been changed, But this influx issue is still going on. And one of my fellow friends just has said, and whatever happens, the punching bag is weak. So what kind of advice they are taking or not? As a former KSU president, you have vast experience in this field. There's one question, and second is that do you support the inner line permit in Meghalaya?
Good.
You see, ideas take time. The Manchpang started 30 years ago. It's only after 30 years that the Compulsory Registration of Marriage Act became Act in 2012. So you cannot, in 1 day or 2 days or 1 year, 2 years, expect people to, to realize that these ideas are in the right direction. But then, with tourism becoming one of the mainstay of the economy in our states, now you see the changes happening in the mindsets. People know that, the moment you disturb the tourists, the tourists are your bread and butter now. So before a tourist is Adhar or non-tribal, you know. But now this perception, the way we look at things have slowly changed. With tourism becoming the main say of our state economy, this in itself will bring about the changes that was happening. Now in Jayao, in Mokhar, before, when people from outside, you know, someone would just go and punch them and all that. But now you see that slowly changing. In Jayao, in Maulai, so many homestays coming up in Maulai, in Mauyong, even in Jayao and Mokhar. So these are, you know, are signs that change is taking place. Of course, I'm sure that you would want change to take place in a faster pace. But at least allow these changes to happen. You look at it 20 years back, 30 years back, these changes in our attitudes wouldn't have been there. It's surprising. So I'm sure, you know, with economy opening up, because you want your economy to grow, you have to have a market. If you don't have a market, who will come and stay in your place? Who will come and eat in your eating joints? Who will come and buy from you? So for an economy to grow, you have to have a market. So you can't scare away the markets if you want your economy to grow. So I'm sure with this equitable distribution of property, as more and more Khasi men go into economic activity, they'll realize, you know, you can't scare away the market. Otherwise, all your business establishments.
Okay, sir, one last comment of yours, we will line
One
point
more,
after.
please. This is not a question really, this is more of a suggestion. See, there have been non-tribals living in the state for maybe more than 100 years. Okay. Assam now has a finally, so from the Supreme Court, Assam is a cut-off date of 71. So whoever came before 71 is a citizen of the state. Like in Meghalaya, we don't have any such cut-off here. Now people who have been living here for hundreds of years, maybe 120, 130, 150, like fourth generation, maybe 200 years, they and the people who have just come in recently for economic reasons, economic migration, they cannot be put in the same platform. So if we really want to resolve the issues of the state, non-tribal people who have been living here for decades, maybe 100 years, unless you take them, embrace them, and the battle will not be fought evenly. I mean, if the non-tribals who are genuine citizens of the state, if they are with the people, the tribal people of the state, I think the fight also will be much easier. So I had discussed this with a few people, with a few Rambashnans also. I said that you identify the people who are genuine citizens, recognize them and take them with you. I think the fight will be much easier. But I don't think this is a very appreciated idea. I didn't feel that way. So can something be really done about this?
Well, I think that's a good point. That's a starting point where all the NGOs on the forefront can come together with prominent people from the non-tribal background and have a one-to-one, discussion, free and frank discussion. Because I think that has never happened before between, the non-tribal population of Shillong together with the NGOs. I think that will be one step more compared. Maybe not a big public meeting or something, small meeting like this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One last question.
Okay, one. This will be the last because we have been here for 2 hours.
Open call.
Yeah.
Since we have
just one point more. I just want to say that the recently,
Wait.
there was one group which stopped the tourist taxis from Assam, blocking the taxis from going to tourist sites. After that, there was a meeting between different tourist taxis operators and different owners of hotels and guest houses coming together and discussing about how to take tourism forward. I think that is also another good point, a good start. Getting all stakeholders together in one place and discussing free and frank about these issues where we can complement each other to take the state forward. Because once people are not viewed as exploiters but as people who can contribute towards mutual development, I think that will be a start. But once you're viewed or someone is viewed as someone who's come here just to exploit the state, Conrad Sama's dream of getting that $10 billion economy will not happen if there's not only a brain drain but a wealth drain. If we feel that the wealth is being exploited and taken outside the state, if we feel like the cement companies, for instance, they've just come here to exploit the resources and they're not giving any contribution to the state. So they are viewed as exploiters. So I think we need to change our attitudes and how we view each other and talk to each other, and it'll be very important for you from your side to bring out what you feel and how you view and how you plan to be stakeholders to bring about the development in the state.
Okay, one last question.
One last, okay.
Yeah, last. Yeah.
We have 5 siblings. So four of my elder brother and sister, they born in Jylla and Robert Hospital. Because during '79 we had a house there. So I was born in '83. So I born and brought up in Laban, Red Cross. I born in the Red Cross. So after that, when we were driven out, my father used to say we were driven out during '79. Sometimes my brother used to say that we had to leave overnight because to save ourselves. So after that, we could not buy a piece of land here. Me, I was doing a business here. It's been 10 years. My father into business. So since that we could not buy a piece of land due to the schedule, constitution and laws and all. So we feel that living for centuries here, but we feel that we are homeless in our state. And as Ba said that economically we have to be strong. So I think when there was a statehood, I think non-tribal, most of the non-tribals were into trade. They were doing business. So I think majority of them, they have contributed more economically to develop the state. So me also, when I want to start something new, I want to diversify my business. So there were lots of obstacles. You can say that like getting NOC from the headman to the Rombado is very difficult. If we had a good relation with Rombado and headman, then suppose we get the NOC, then we have to get some challenges from the district council.
So, and eventually what happens, we deny the trading license. So we cannot diversify our business, nor we can do an expansion, nor we can buy a land so that we can, contribute economically to the state. So what we do, I have done expansion my business in Guwahati because I'm not getting any opportunity here. So that also, I had to contribute to the other state. And so these things is really, hurt us, and we feel that we are second-class citizen. We can say third class, somebody say. So that is what we feel. Economically also we are not supported. Somebody said that we have beaten up somewhere, and now we are beaten up in the stomach also. So that's the thing, sir. What's you say on this?
Well, even though the constitution, allows fundamental rights to move any place in India, settle, but there are also, constitutional provisions to protect the small populated tribals all over India. So this you cannot deny, because these constitutional protections are there to safeguard the smaller populated indigenous peoples all over India. Okay, but then there are also exceptions, where now you see different universities coming up. Different universities like N.Syiem, CMJ. Okay, this is one instance, one example, where we have allowed CMJ University to set up a university in Meghalaya, to buy land and set up a university. CMJ is the name of the person, his own name, he has named his own university. But then what did he do? He used this opportunity and exploited more than 30,000 students all over India, giving them PhDs in a matter of 6 months. For 7 lakh rupees, a student can get a PhD through the CMJ. And now the EDA Enforcement Directorate has confiscated his assets, family assets. So we have to be careful also, when we open up the land, because there might be opportunists who use this opportunity, in order to contribute to the state. They have exploited this provision. So when you ask for, access to buy land, you have also to understand that for us, the indigenous people, land is the one asset which we cannot move anywhere in India without, once we lose our land. Of course, this will not satisfy, this answer will not satisfy you. But as an indigenous people also who have, like I had announced, talked to you earlier, but we don't want to become minorities as in Tripura. This is a frank admission, frank talk coming from one of the ex-student leaders of the KSU. Even though we were welcome, but we cannot open everything, because we have to safeguard this land, and this is the only land which we have. And this land transfer act is not only in Meghalaya, it's there in other states of the northeast as well. You cannot go to Nagaland, you cannot go to Mizoram and ask the same thing. So, yeah, I'm sure you won't be happy about this admission of mine.
It's okay, Baba.
But then I'm telling you what is, what is to be told. But maybe like if we have that discussion here with other NGOs, with other government officials, you can raise this issue also. But right now I have no authority to tell you that, okay, we can do that. I cannot, just deceive you and giving you assurance. But maybe in a different platform you can bring up this issue up.
Yeah. I think it's already 2 hours. It's 8, and we can go on discussing all night long. But I'm thankful to Bamai for being able to face these hard questions. The strength of our society also will be based on having the continuous conversations. Yes. Like Bahamite had pointed out, we can take this forward. I mean, we enlarge the circle, we engage with different stakeholders. I know there are issues which Bahamite cannot answer right here. And we also acknowledge the fact that, I also have non-tribal friends who straight on my face, they said to me, give us the space just to breathe. We don't want anything from you. Just give us the space to breathe. Because suddenly they have nowhere to go. I also met a lady who lived in a rented house in Auckland. And she told me a story because she couldn't afford the price of a rented house in Auckland. And she asked me to look for a house in Meghalaya. Can you imagine? She said, I'm ready to stay in Meghalaya if people, allow me to stay. I mean, that is the situation, that is the reality that we have to acknowledge. Also we have to look at the political space. I mean, we cannot deny the fact people would love that these issues perpetuate. I mean, so that they, for their interests in whatever way. So once again, thank you very much, Bahamite, and thank you, Rilsan, Bahamar, the proprietor of this place, and also thank you, Meghalaya, together, and the discussion is over. Thank you very much.